Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here. I'm gonna do something a little bit new this time. I just ran out and got the new Def Leppard album earlier today. One listen in, so we're doing a one listen review, which I've never done before. Usually I'm reviewing stuff that I've listened to for years, or at least, a few times through. But this is gonna be a little different. So I'm gonna lead off by saying I'm a huge Def Leppard fan. Going back to when I was like 13 years old, and I got Pyromania. I was just learning how to play guitar. I was getting into rock music. They were one of the first bands that really got me into rock music. One of the first songs I ever heard from them was "Wasted" on a show on the local radio station called I can't remember what it was called. It had to be Metal something, I don't remember. But anyway, it's one of the first songs I ever heard, and of theirs. And one of the first songs I ever wrote was actually a song that I tried to sound like Def Leppard, and it was horrible. It was called "Keep on Rockin'," like rock till you drop. So that was like my 13-year-old take on Def Leppard, I guess, and no one's ever heard that song. Nobody's ever going to hear that song. But anyway, the point is what kind of influence they were on me. I'm a little bit too young to go see them in concert when they first were touring around my area. Parents didn't want to go see them. They wouldn't take me. They didn't have friends old enough to go. So I had to wait till the next go around on the Hysteria tour, which obviously took years in between those two albums to make. So by that time, I was old enough to head out with a few friends. And saw them twice on that tour. And then I saw them once again on the Animalized tour. So I've seen them a few times. And anyway, enough of that. So if you ever hear any of their influence into my songwriting, that's why, because it's been ingrained in my blood since I was first learning how to play guitar and getting into rock music. So anyway, I was going to get this yesterday because it came out yesterday, but lucky me, I got to pass a kidney stone, and so I spent the day doing that yesterday and the first part of today. Finally got it out, got down to the local record shop and got the very last copy of it. So I was really excited that I actually made it there. I'm glad I didn't wait any longer. But anyway, let's get on to it here. So, interesting album. Let's start out with the good. And I'll start out by saying this doesn't sound anything like early Def Leppard. If any of you guys are out there expecting them to do a return to form from On Through the Night, High and Dry, or even Pyromania for that matter, it ain't happening. So they've developed a new style of writing and production. When Mutt came along, they've pretty much stuck with that even when they haven't used Mutt. Some of the albums, after Hysteria and even Adrenalize, still followed that format, but in my personal opinion, the songwriting wasn't quite as strong. The last album they came out with, the self-titled one, was kind of in my opinion. I've listened to it several times, and it's never really grown on me. It's okay. I mean, I'm not going to diss Def Leppard in any way, shape, or form, but they got kind of formulaic, and if that's even a word, in their writing, and they didn't really veer too far from that on the last one, and I actually don't think the production on the last one was all that great. However, the production on this one, I think, is fantastic. The bass, I have to say, is like one of the highlights of this album. You don't hear Rick Savage like that on any of the other albums, maybe in the earlier stuff, but not in the last 30 years. You haven't heard Rick Savage like you're going to hear him on this album if you go out and get it. The producer on this one, it's kind of co-produced with this guy named Ronan McHugh, which I honestly don't know much about him. In fact, I don't know anything about him. So maybe I'll have to look into him and see what else he's produced, because this was produced really well. And it's kind of funny, this album as a whole sounds like a cohesive album. It sounds like it was recorded at one time when it actually wasn't. It was recorded all over the place, all over the world, in everybody's personal studios, and then kind of mixed together by this Ronan McHugh, and he does a lot of drum programming on it, and he made it really sound like a cohesive album. So I was really impressed with that. And Rick Savage, just his bass tone on this is great. You had to hear Phil and Vivian. You can tell who's playing what. Their personalities show in this one. Although I do have to say, this is a really Phil heavy album when it comes to songwriting and guitar playing. It does the magnitude of the solos on this and the writing. In fact, Vivian doesn't have any writing credits on this album at all, which I think is kind of a shame, because like the stuff he's written in the past in his past projects, and it's kind of sad that he doesn't have anything on here, but he does have some pretty kick-ass solos, I'd have to say. He has his personality really shines through in his solo playing. No real shredding or anything on here, but very good guitar work when he does have a solo. The thing about Phil is when he tries to play fast, I mean, you can definitely tell it's him, but in my opinion, when he plays fast, he gets a little bit sloppy and you don't hear all the notes. He gets a little bit, I don't know, he doesn't shred quite as cleanly as like someone like Neil Schon does. He plays really great melodic parts, but when he tries to go really fast, it gets a little bit blurry there, but that's just, my personal take on it. Also interesting is that the bookends of this album start with Rick Savage and Joe Elliott start the first song out, and Rick Savage writes the last song. And that's the only writing credit Rick Savage has, is the first song and the last song. First song, Take What You Want, is great. I mean, it's like the hardest rockin' one on the album, actually. And that was one of the, I think it was the second single they released. That was one you probably heard. Kick is the second song, which reminds me of old T-Rex, and it's probably where they got the idea to name the album Diamond Star Halos, from an old T-Rex song. What's the next song here is Fire It Up, which is a co-write with Phil Collin and this Sam Hollander. Actually, Kick was a co-write with Phil Collin and Dave Bassett, and there's also a co-write with Phil Collin and C.J. Vanston on this guitar, which was features Alison Krauss on it, which they just released as a lyric video. My opinion, that was probably not the best choice to release as a single. There's actually a song later in the album that she sings on that I think is like way better than that song. It's called Lifeless, which is 10 times the song that this guitar is. This guitar actually sounds like a country song. It's actually one that Vivian plays a little bit of slide guitar on, and I think Rick Savage actually plays 12-string acoustic on this one. I'm reading the notes because I just got the album. So the first 3 songs pretty rockin'. This guitar sounds like Def Leppard doing country, kind of strange but decent song. Going to SOS Emergency, another Phil Collin, Joe Elliott writing, kind of a good rockin' song. Nothing over, spectacular there, but it's a good rockin' song. And then it goes in this Liquid Dust, which is Phil Collin write, which is it's got some maybe Indian, Middle Eastern type vibes going on, and it's kind of a mid-tempo song, decent. You Rock Me, another Phil Collin written only song, which is kind of a mid-tempo rocker, decent. It's got some cool lyrics to it. It's got, every once in a while, it seems like they always try the Pour Some Sugar on Me lyric writing style, and they do that a couple times on this album, which is cool. I like it, so I'm not going to diss them for that. Then we go to a Goodbye for Good this time, written by Joe Elliott, which Joe Elliott's kind of known for writing a lot of the ballads in the past, and like really catchy ballads. This one, not so catchy. Actually sounds like something maybe he would have written for his Down and Outs project, or the Cybernauts thing, or turned into the Down and Outs. But anyway, sounds like something like he maybe should have done for that project. Still a decent song, but it's like really not upbeat like most of his ballads are. I mean, not that a lot of his ballads are upbeat, but they have a more melodic side to them. This one's more not melodic. I don't even know how to explain it. You'd have to hear it. It's like more majestic sounding, like it's a big production. In fact, I think it's got orchestration on it. Yeah, it does. And although it does feature a cool nylon string guitar solo by Phil Collin on it, which I thought was actually pretty good. That's actually something you won't ever hear on any of the other records that I can think of. Then we go into All We Need, which is a decent mid-tempo. A lot of mid-tempo stuff on this album. That's the good mid-tempo Phil Collin, Joe Elliott song. Open Your Eyes, that one was okay. Another Phil Collin, Joe Elliott song. And to Give Me a Kiss That Rocks. Now that song was actually pretty cool. Upbeat rocker. I could see that one being a single. That one's pretty cool. Another Phil Collin, Joe Elliott song, if I didn't already say that. Into Angels, which is also another Joe Elliott ballad, which was probably, in my opinion, the weakest one on the whole album. It didn't really do too much for me. Huge orchestration on it, though. I mean, that was cool. It's kind of epic, but didn't really seem to go anywhere. Maybe that one's going to take another listen to get to. And then, like I previously mentioned, Lifeless with Alison Krauss. And on both of these songs, Alison Krauss doesn't really have a solo spot. She does a lot of background and harmony singing on it, which really does add to the songs. this one, I can't believe they didn't release this one a single. Maybe they're gonna do that one next. That was probably one of the catchiest songs on the whole album. Unbreakable after that, another Joe Elliott song, which is decent. I mean, like a mid-tempo rocker. You know, it sounds like maybe he was trying to do the pour some sugar on me thing-ish, with the vocal part anyway, not really musically with the guitar lick or anything like that. But and it ends with a From Here to Eternity, written by Rick Savage, which is like this big, epic, slow, dragging on type song, which I could probably have lived without. But anyway, it was kind of cool. Overall, I'd probably give this maybe a 7 out of 10 rating. Production was great. I'm sure after a few more listens, I'll hear things obviously that I didn't hear the first time, and some of these songs will probably grow on me a little bit more. But yeah, not disappointed at all. It's definitely worth the money spent. If you're a Def Leppard fan, this is a good one to add to the collection. It's probably better than a lot of the stuff they did in between, like Adrenalize to now. A lot of those ones in there between had some good songs, but overall probably weren't great albums. Not a lot of those that I pull out a lot. I still stick with the earlier ones, and this one actually, there's a lot I like about it. So I'm going to give it a few more listens, and I'm sure this one's really going to grow on me. It's one I was anticipating once I heard about it, which wasn't too long ago because they didn't give us much warning, but I am so glad that I made it down to the record store and got it today because I really enjoyed it. So anyway, hope this helped you guys maybe decide on if you're going to go out there and buy it yourselves. But as you can probably tell, I'm still kind of excited about listening to it. So yeah, feel free to share this with your friends as always. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and check out all the other stuff I got out there. But anyway, I'm going to let you go check out the album, have fun. Talk to you guys later.